besties, today we'll be learning how to use our knit skirt block to draft patterns and sew this beautiful wrap pencil pleated skirt. Now this tutorial is really very simple. The pattern making is simple, very straightforward. Even the sewing as well is also very simple. It is a great tutorial for beginners. Okay, so without saying so much, you're going to grab all your pattern making tools, grab your knit skirt block, and then let's head over to the table to start drafting our patterns. So the first thing we're going to do is you are going to trace your knit skirt block. So just trace it all around and then also trace your hip line. So you're going to have something like this. Now once you've done this, you are going to lengthen it according to your desired length. So I'm going to measure from the hemline how much I need to add to it. So I'm going to add 12 cm to my hemline to make it 72 cm, the length of my skirt. So let me erase this line. This was just my former length of skirt. So now that I've lengthened it, we don't need this part anymore. Okay, good. And the next thing you're going to do is, if you want your skirt to be really very pencil, you can take in about maybe 1.5 cm or 2 cm on the hemline so that you can have that pencil effect. And then you connect it nicely like so to the hip line. Okay. Now the next thing we're going to do would be to create patterns for our waistband. So because I want to have a waistband for this, so I'm going to measure from here, determine how wide you want your waistband to be. So I usually like my waistband to be about 5 cm. So I'm just going to measure like this, 5 cm. And then use my French curve to connect them together. So this part here is going to be my waistband. So this part is my center front and my center back. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do now is we are going to place a paper over this, and then we're going to trace out this waistband. All right. Okay, so once you trace out your waistband, you're going to add seam allowance around it, 1.5 cm seam allowance all around. So this part here is going to be cut on fold, so you don't need to add seam allowance on this part. Okay, so now you're going to trim off the excess paper. And then for the main skirt, you're also going to add seam allowance around it. You're going to add 1.5 cm seam allowance all around, and then on the hem you can add up to like 4 cm seam allowance. Okay, so I'm going to add my seam allowance here on the waistline. From here now, 1.5 cm seam allowance. So once you finish adding your seam allowance, you are going to now trim off the excess paper. This is your front and your back pattern pieces. So for the waistband, you're going to cut 4 pieces on fold, and then for the main skirt, you're going to cut 2 pieces on fold. Now we're going to work on the wrap with the pleat in front. Okay. So again, you're going to take your skirt block, just draw a random straight line like this. The line is just to serve as a guide so that your pattern will be straight, and then you're going to trace out your skirt block. So and then you're going to flip your skirt block to the other side. You're just going to mirror it like this, and then you're going to trace out the other part. The reason why we are tracing it in full, the front part in full, is because this is a wrap skirt and the pleat is towards one side, as in it is one-sided pleat. So that is why we have to trace it like this in full. So once you have it like this all traced out, you're also going to lengthen it just the way you lengthen the other part, the front part or the base. So once you've lengthened it, the next thing would be for you to also take off a little bit from the hem, just the way you did for the front part. Okay, so once you have it like this, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take off the waistband, because we also would not need, we had already drafted patterns for our waistband, so you're just going to take off our waistband from here. Now once you've done this, the next thing would be for us to create our pleats. This is really very easy. So from your hip line, you're just going to measure upwards, say about 5 or so, or about between 5 and 7 cm. Okay, I'm going to use about 7 cm for mine, so I'm just going to mark. So this is where my pleat is going to start from. So whatever I have between here and this part here, I'm going to divide it into 5 equal parts. Okay, so you divide them into 5 equal parts, and then here you are going to, so for me I have about 2.5 cm each, so 2.5 cm each. So here now I'm going to mark it downwards, say maybe about 6 or 7 cm. Let me use about 7 cm, and then you're going to mark 5 points here too. So once you mark them like that, you are going to, from here now, you can measure it downwards, say about 1 cm or 1.5 cm. So this is about 1.5 cm. Now let me redo this one. Okay. So I'm just remarking mine. Okay. So because I dropped this part about 1.5 cm, so I just remarked mine. All right. So you're going to connect them nicely. So you connect the first point. Connect the first point like so, the first point, and then you connect the second one like so. Okay, so you're actually going to have something like this. Okay, so once you're happy with the way it is, now you're going to draw your curve line. So I'm going to use a pencil to draw my curve from here. So you just draw it according to how you like it. Okay, something like this. So if you are happy with the way it is, then you can use your French curve to draw it nicely. So once you're happy with it, you're going to trim off all the excess paper around it so that you can actually slash and spread this part open. So you're going to trim off your waistband as well. You don't need a waistband for this. So now you're going to slash and spread open these lines. So you just cut them open one after the other. Now once you get to the end, you stop. So don't slice it open. Just leave it like that. And then you cut all the other lines open. So now we are going to get a plain sheet of paper, and then we're going to spread open these lines to create our pleats. So now you're going to spread them open as wide as you like. The wider you spread them open, the wider or the bigger your pleat is going to be. So determine how wide you want your pleat to be. So I'm going to spread my open, say about 7 cm. So from here to here, say 7 cm. So you can make yours wider or you can make yours smaller. It really depends on you. And then you're going to spread all the others evenly. Whatever you use in spreading these, that's how you're going to spread the others. So since I'm using 7 cm for this, I'm going to use 7 cm for the others, so that all my pleats will be equal and they will be uniform. Okay? Okay, so once you finish spreading them out, you are now going to trim off the excess paper on the side seam like so. So you're going to start from the bottom here, and then you fold on this line. You see this first line? Fold on it. It's very easy. Fold on it nicely all the way down to the end. And then place it on this line, this second one, like so. Okay? So that's how you create your pleat very easily. And then you go again, you fold on this other line, the second line. Fold it from one end all the way down to the other end. And then place it on the second line like so. Good. So that's how you're going to fold everything in, folding your pleats. Okay, so once you finish folding them in like this, you can use your sticky tape to hold them together in place, or you can put in a weight to hold them, and then you trim off this excess paper. So you have your pleats, easy peasy. So once you open them up, you're going to have something like this. Now you're going to give your pleats little notches. So you see, so that when you place it on your fabric, yeah, you're going to notch it. You see this place here, you're going to notch, you notch where your pleats are going to start from. So you notch them. So when you place them on your fabric, you are also going to notch your fabric so that it will be easy for you to pleat. Easy peasy. Okay? So actually we are done with the pattern making for this class. I told you it's very easy, right? Good. Now we're going to place it on our fabric now and then cut them out. So for this knit skirt, I'll be using about 2 meters of stretch knit fabric. The reason is because of the pleats. and the wrap, so it's going to take a bit of fabric. Okay, and then remember that for this pattern piece we have not added our seam allowance, so add your seam allowance all around, about 1.5 cm seam allowance all around. Okay, don't forget. Even for the hemline, add about 1.5 cm seam allowance. Okay, so before you take off your pattern, you are going to notch all those places. So transfer those notches to your fabric, okay? So that it will be easy for you to pleat. Now to cut the skirt, you fold your fabric into two like so, and then you just place your skirt pattern on it. This side, the center front or the center back, should be placed on the folded edge of the fabric. That is what it means to cut on fold. Okay, so you're going to cut 2 pieces of this. So it's time for us to start stitching, and the first thing we're going to stitch would be the wrap in front. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go and fold the hem. Just go and fold it like this. Fold it all the way down to the end. And the beauty of working with knit is knit fabrics, most of them, in fact, yeah, they don't fray. So you can see the edge is very fine. So you're just going to go ahead, fold it nicely like this, and then stitch it. Yeah, fold it nicely like this and then stitch it. If you still want to go ahead and overlock, you can go ahead and overlock the raw edges. Okay, so now take it to the ironing board and give it a very good press. So let's make our pleat. So you're going to take your first notch, see your notch, you're going to just fold the first pleat like this to meet this your pleat here. Remember, you notched it and then you pin it very nicely together. Okay, and then you take your second one and then you pleat it to meet this other one like so. Okay, so you just go ahead and do exactly the same thing for all of them. Okay, so when you finish pleating, you're going to have something like this. Now you're going to go ahead and just stitch this together so that they don't move. Okay. Now you're going to take one side of the skirt and then you're going to lay it flat like this with the right side of the fabric facing you, and then you're going to place your wrap on top just like so. Just arrange it very well, and then you're going to go join them together. So just stitch this one to the side like this. You can baste it from here to here, okay? And then on the side seam as well, you're going to baste this one too. Just stitch it with loose stitches just to hold them together in place from here all the way down to the hemline, okay? Now you're going to place the back side on top like so, and then you're going to join them together on the side seam. So join them like this and then join them like that, okay? So be sure to pin the side seams together so that it will be easy for you to stitch. Okay, and then do exactly the same thing for this other side. Once you're done, you take it to the ironing board and then give it a very good press. So now you're going to have something like this, nice and neat. So the next thing we're going to do now would be for us to prepare our waistband. So you're going to take your waistband like this, and then you're going to join them together on the side seam. So place them like this, join them like this, join them like this. And then you take the other pair, this other one like so, and then you join them as well on the side seam. And then you go ahead to open press your seam allowance. All right. So now we're going to use one of the waistband to turn the other one. Now this is the right side of my fabric, and then this is the wrong side of my fabric. So this one, you're just going to place it inside like so. Put it inside like so. So you now have right side facing the right side. Match the seam allowance. Use your pins to hold them together in place. And then do exactly the same thing for this other side. Okay, so now you're going to go ahead and stitch from one end all around, all the way down to the other side, okay, on the waistline. So now the next thing you're going to do is you're going to push this seam allowance to one side, any of the side, either here or here, it doesn't matter. And then you're going to top stitch it. So you're going to just top stitch it so that it will relax very well. You can do it at the back or you can do it in front, it doesn't matter. Okay, so now you're going to go ahead, and then this part here where we top stitch is going to be the one inside. So this part is going to be like against your skin. So now you're going to go ahead and then fold it and then press it nicely. Just go ahead and press it very nicely from one end to the other end. Now when you finish pressing, you're going to fold in your seam allowance. Fold it in here, fold this one in, press it. Just press it nicely, both of them. All right. So when you finish preparing your waistband, you're going to have something like this. Now we're going to attach it to our skirt. So you're going to take your waistband, see, right side like this, facing right side, you see, place it very nicely. Now we're going to fix the inner one first. You see this one, the one that we top stitch. So you take it like so, just take it from inside, and then you place it like this. This is the right side of our fabric, and then you place it against the wrong side of your skirt. You see this is the wrong side of my skirt, so you place it like that. First of all, match the seam allowance, the side seam rather, match them together first. Use your pins to hold them together in place. Be careful not to make a mistake. Let me pin them and then I'll show it to you. Okay, so once you pin it, you're going to have something like this. Let me show you. Good. So you're going to have something like this. You see, I pinned it from the inside. You see? So this is the inner skirt and this is the outside. So now you're going to go and stitch from one end all the way down to the other end, leaving this part. We're going to use this one to close it up later. But for now, we're going to go ahead and stitch these parts, okay? So now you're going to take it to the ironing board and then you're going to give it a very good press. Press this your seam allowance towards the waistband so that it will relax very well. And then you're going to use this other one to cover it very nicely. Okay? So now you're going to fold the outer waistband like so. Fold it on top. On your fold line like this. Fold it. Use your pins to hold them together in place. And then you're going to go ahead and top stitch it from one end all the way down to the other end, okay? Okay, so now you're going to take it to the ironing board and give it a very good press. See your waistband? See, it's going to stretch out and you're going to be able to wear it because it has some stretch in it, okay? So once you finish your waistband, you're going to have something like this, nice and neat, okay? The only thing left for us to do now will be for us to finish off the hemline. Now you see I have already gone to fold in my hemline. Now for this hemline, I really don't want stitches showing outside at all. I just want my stitches to be invisible so that it will really look crisp, nice. And so I'm going to be using the hand needle to hand stitch this using the herringbone hem finishing method. Okay, so if you're interested in knowing how to use that herringbone hem finishing method, I'm going to watch the next video that will show after this. I'm going to post it somewhere on my screen, so it's going to show. Watch out for it and then watch it so that you can learn how to use that herringbone hem finishing method. It's very neat, it's very professional. I bet you will really love it. Okay, so that's how I'm going to finish off this hem. Now tell me, I hope you enjoyed this class. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. And I hope it was simple enough for you to understand, for you to follow. Please leave me your comment in the comment section. I really would want to hear from you. Your feedbacks really help me a lot, please. So don't hesitate to drop comments for me. And if you have not already subscribed yet, please kindly subscribe and share this tutorial with your sewing buddies so that we can all learn together. Alright, so I'll be seeing you next week with another tutorial. Until then, do have a nice day. Bye bye.